Hi, I'm Sheridan from the Training Designers Club, and I'm all about helping to make things quicker, easier and less stressful for you if you are a busy L&D practitioner, and especially if you work on your own. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you one of the tools that I use on a very regular basis, which has really revolutionized the way that I design training. It genuinely saves me so much time. And I don't even use all of the things that I could use with it. It's a tool called SessionLab. And if you've never come across it, I'm going to attempt to show you all the amazing features that it has in about 15 minutes. So come on in and I'll take you around. So here I am in SessionLab. It's very easy to create an account, and I do believe that you can trial it for free, which I did very many years ago. And when I open SessionLab, it automatically takes me to the page which has all the session plans that I've written before, and I use it for pretty much everything. But I'm not going to show you what I've done. I'm going to show you how you can use it for yourself, really. So if I go over to here, we can create a session. So if I just click on that, and I always start with a blank session, and I think that's because I have been designing training for so many years. I've got my own method, my own style, and I just like to start with a blank sheet of paper. But the brilliant thing is, and I want to show it to you, is you really don't have to. There's so many drafted session plans in here that you can use. So what I particularly wanted to show you, I mean, look at all these different topics that you can have. So if you look at this one, for example, this essential training session, it says it's 3 hours, but you can add to that, you can take stuff away, and that's what I love with it. It's just the flexibility and the versatility of it. So this is a template that I could just adapt if I wanted to. It's already there, and it just tells you really what you need to put in the various sections. So what do people need to do beforehand, how we're going to introduce it, how are you going to contract for the day, which icebreaker are you going to run, what's your first activity. So it really guides you through the whole training design process. What questions are you going to ask to debrief it. And this 2-column format is pretty standard in SessionLab. People use it differently. A lot of the VIP members use SessionLab, and we all do use it slightly differently. I tend to put the vast majority of my content in this left-hand column, and then I just include sort of additional notes in this other column. So anything that you might want to refer to, so if there's another document, or if there's something from a previous session, or if there's background information for the trainer, that is what I would put in this particular column here. So, I mean, that is just brilliant to start off with. If I just go back, let's just start a new session. I'm just going to hit this create a new session again, because there's I was so excited when I saw this, the business model canvas workshop. It's something that comes up so often in our VIP designer drop-ins, because obviously we do a lot of consulting as trainers as well. So it's not just about training session plans. There's so much in here to help you as a facilitator. And you can see here, it's completely free. You can go and you can download the template, and here in the session plan is how to run that, how to facilitate that session. And of course you can add your own information here relating to your organisation or the specific challenges that you're exploring, just to act as a memory jogger, really. So it's absolutely fantastic. Just a little note on the colours whilst we are here. Another reason that I love SessionLab is that you can colour code your sessions. And if I just expand on, let's just put something here, you can see, you can categorise it. And I always have trainer input as theory, and you can see, is it a group discussion? Is it an exercise? What's going on? And then what that means down the side here, you can see the balance of your day. And you can see, is it too presentation heavy? Have we got 3 exercises in quick succession? Maybe we need to put a little bit of reflection time in there. And you can see, excuse me, the comparative length of those sessions as well. So it's a brilliant at a glance session that those using those colours allows you to do. You don't have to use the colours at all, but it is really handy from that point of view. So let's just go back. So if I want to create a new session, let's create a blank session this time. So we can, the thing that I love to do with this is that you can add groups of activities and then you can add blocks. So if you are adding, we'll design training, don't we? So there'll be a section, for example, on delegation, but you might be covering 3 or 4 things in that. So you can have your group, which is delegation, and then your 3 or 4 blocks, and you can just drag them in. So if I put welcome in here, I'm not going to do a whole training session. I promise you we're not going to do that. So we can have the normal instructions there, and then let's say that I want to introduce an icebreaker activity. Now maybe I have a great icebreaker that I want to use, but maybe I'm scratching my head and thinking, oh, what could I do with this group? And that's where going to the library over here can be incredibly helpful. So if I click on the library, there are probably hundreds of preloaded exercises that you can use, which is just incredible. It's another great way that we can save a load of time, really. It's just fantastic for saving time. So so many different things that we can look. So if I look at energizers, just so many that you can choose from, and exercises that are designed specifically for remote training, for virtual training. So we're never going to be short for ideas when we're using SessionLab. So I'm just going to go back to where I was. Let's just choose one, and then I'll show you what we can do with that. So let's do this one. Let's say I want to do that. So I'm going to click use method. I choose which course it's going into, and it's my untitled session because I haven't titled it yet. And in it goes. And you see it's gone into the parking lot. So now I go to that plan. It takes me back to the session that I've started. And it's here on the right hand side. So now I can basically collect everything that I want to collect, and then I can simply drag and drop it to where I want it to go. So what I can do now is I can delete this particular one. Delete is probably hidden by that. Delete. Yeah, because we've got that in instead. So let's say this is going to be an introduction to management course. So, we do the whole management and leadership thing. And I think actually at this level it's the supervisors, and I want to cover action-centered leadership. And I think I've definitely covered that before. There's something I can use. So if I go back, I go to my own personal library, my sessions here. Click on my sessions. I know that I've covered it with this group here. So here's action-centered leadership, just a 1 hour session. So what I can do with this session is I can, wrong thing, copy to. So I can now incorporate that into my new session. So go back into that session there, and what we should see is it's in the parking lot. Click on the parking lot there. There's action-centered leadership. So what I can do is I can just drag that whole thing into there, and I can reuse it, and then I can add to it however I want. So we're not having to constantly reuse things. And here's why I fell in love with SessionLab all those years ago. So I can say that this course starts at 9:30. 9:30, that is our starting time. And that's great, and I can put all my colours in and all the rest of it. And we're going to have a little break here. I'm just going to delete this. Delete. Yes. So that would be a natural place for a break. But you can see here that it tells me what time I should be hitting these various things, which is absolutely brilliant. But let's say I've done the rest of the session plan, and then, oh, the senior manager would like to come in and just sort of have a word, and you think, oh, great, that's lovely, but it's going to really screw up all my timings. So what we could do, for example, so we've got Action Centre Leadership is currently starting. Actually, we could change that, look. We can change that to a 20-minute. So look what happens when I do. All the rest of the times, I'm indicating the screen here, all the rest of the times just automatically update, which is amazing. And then what I can do here is I can add a block, and I can add welcome by senior manager, and let's give them 15 minutes. And away we go, and everything is just updated. If I expand one of these sessions here, what you're going to see over on this side is different people use SessionLab in different ways. So what you can add if you wanted to is add all of the things that you need for this. So it says there post-it notes, you know, whatever it is you might need. And if you needed to add additional instructions. Now, sometimes when I'm writing particularly for a facilitator who isn't me, I will have put all the instructions for the exercises on a separate handout, so I'm not clogging up the session plan. So that's something that I can attach if I wanted to there. So for example, if I was on this original course, we had the Smarty game. So if someone's not done the Smarty game before, they might think, I don't know what that is. I can just attach that handout and it will all pull across when I share the session plan with them. Talking of sharing, you can share to collaborate, and you can share with people to review. So if version control is an issue for you, or maybe you're working with another facilitator and you've both got different strengths, so maybe one of you is focusing on day one, one of you is focusing on day two, you can both work in the same document at the same time. You're not having to worry which is the most up-to-date version. And obviously, if you're giving that to your stakeholders as well, you don't have to worry about where things are up to. They can review it and they can add comments, and then you can incorporate those as necessary. Also over here, you'll spot the export function. So you can export it as a PDF or as Word. You can duplicate the session. So particularly if you work for corporate, or even if you don't actually, if you run more or less the same workshop for different people, but maybe one section is changed, or you're just swapping bits and pieces out, you can duplicate the whole session. And that's going to make things so much quicker for you as well. So if I let's export that as Word, just so you see what you get. And now if I go to my downloads, where it should be, here you can see how it is downloaded. So you can edit it in Word. So basically, once your content has been approved, you can export it, put your own branding on there. You can alter the size of these columns. You can do whatever you want to it. What I do with the Power Hour sessions is I leave the optional sections shaded and I unshade everything else. So again, it's at a glance, people can see how to use it. So it always exports in this more traditional format, and then it also, for some reason, does it like this as well. Obviously, some people prefer this format, and I'm guessing if you're putting your notes under slides, this would be easier for you to copy and paste. So as long as you've actually listed it in that right hand column that I showed you, so if you list all of the support material or equipment that you need for each section, it will pull it all out, so you can see at a glance what you need in order to run that session. And that's something that I always like to do with my session plans, is to have the list all on one page, so the facilitators aren't having to read through every single bit and trying to work out what they need to take. It's all there in a simple checklist form. So that's another great feature. I just think SessionLab is absolutely brilliant in terms of its versatility, in terms of its ease of use, and it just saves me so much time, and I urge you to have a go. Now, just to be clear, I am now an affiliate for SessionLab, having used them for years and years, and I would not be recommending it if I didn't genuinely think it was a great thing for you to use. And also, if you want to learn more about how to actually design a great session plan, I have a short course on that on the Training Designers Club website, which you might want to check out. So go and explore with SessionLab. I hope you found that useful.